How's it going, everyone? Good to see you all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out to night 1 of 4 of Posh Week. Can we get a quick show of hands? Who's not from New York City? Who traveled here, is from out of town? Okay, first of all, thank you to all of you for pulling up and coming this far. Posh Week is all about getting the best experiential curators together in the same spaces and just celebrating what we do, which is in-person, authentic human connection. I think it's the most important thing in the world right now is getting humans in the same space and getting them to interact and form new relationships. And so this week is really like the culmination of all these superheroes of social interactions coming together, learning from one another, networking, talking about how we can work more together and all that great stuff. Posh Week is 4 nights long, like I said. This is the first night, it's a panel. Tomorrow we have a sick networking event. Friday is a black tie gala, and then Saturday we have 2 really cool parties for you guys. The first of which is a more public one that'll be a ton of sick hip hop at a big club in the city, and then we'll have an after hours that's exclusive for everyone here. If you're a Posh organizer, it's gonna be really cool. We curated, shout out to our community team, an amazing panel of really talented event organizers today. And yeah, we're gonna have a conversation mostly about the importance of live experiences, especially where we're at now with how inundated everyone is with online and social media, but also dig into how you guys got into your craft, what keeps you going now, where your event's business is going, and then we'll open the panel up to Q&A so that if you guys have any questions, you can ask them. But yeah, we'll start off with some intros. And again, I'm really excited and honestly super grateful to you guys for joining us and giving us your time. So let's dive into it. You want to start with intros?
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you, Posh, the community team, for having us here. My name is Omari. I am the co-founder of NARC. Yeah, I know it's a jarring word in the term, but it stands for Not a Run Club. So we really did start running, and we do run every Saturdays. But that said, we realized we did so much more than running, so it was just fitting to become Not a Run Club over our origin name, which was BK Run Club. So we create third spaces for people across New York City to move, shake, vibe in different capacities, and that's what Not a Run Club is about. And we keep it a little nebulous because you got to pull up on us to find out about the true magic. But thank you all, Posh, for enabling us.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much, Posh. My name is Emily, probably too.
Yes.
My last name is Bass. Unfortunately, I work in music. It's not bass. I work with We Belong here, the events company, also a loyal Posh customer. We do music festivals in Florida, Miami, Palm Beach, and Tampa, and New York this weekend if you want to come. Next weekend in Central Park. And I also run LPGOB's nonprofit called Femme House, which is bringing more women and underrepresented groups into the technical sides of music and DJing. So if you like to party or if you want to go more into the education side, let's talk. But super, super grateful to be here, so thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Tochi. I'm one of the co-founders of South House NYC. So with South House NYC, it's basically like a collective and we just basically focus on the culture. So what does that include? Music, art, fashion, and just community wellness as well. So yeah, I'm originally from Nashville, Tennessee, and thank you to Posh for having me.
Thank you guys again for being on the panel. I'm Eli, I forgot to intro myself, but I co-founded Posh with my buddy Avante. We started at NYU and then we dropped out. We were throwing events like all of you were, and we created this product to bring people together the way that we are right now. And in relation to that, I think one of the most memorable things throughout the years has been those really special moments at events where you feel like the event can't be replicated. If you guys can think back as far as you can, I'm so curious, starting with Omari, what is the first live experience that you have a memory of that was a special moment for you?
Yeah, for myself, I think a special moment for us is one day, we run 10 a.m. on a Saturday. I know that's a hard ask for a lot of people, especially in New York City where you may have been doing certain things on a Friday night. But it was one day we woke up and we had over 100 people at a run on a Saturday in McCarran Park. And that was a real testament to people fucked with our vibe, they liked what we were doing, they liked what we were building. And 100 individual people, half of them probably hungover, came to our event to show up and run. And that was a moment where I'm like, wow, this is a lot. We didn't have a megaphone. I'm losing my voice trying to speak to everybody. I gotta get one of those on Amazon. So that was really one of those moments where I'm like, wow, this has real wings behind it, real capacity, and I had to start building the infrastructure to enable that size of event to facilitate that many people, right? All the way from permits, megaphones, speakers, like how do you really build something for 100 people plus? And that was really a moment where I woke up and I was like, wow, and I realized we had something special going on there.
Why'd that mean something to you? Like, do you want to just make money off of the events, or is there something that made you really passionate about experiences?
So I think initially it definitely wasn't about making money. I think I'm the type of person, I'm entrepreneurial. If I'm gonna put a lot of time into something, I do want it to make money and be profitable. But initially it was really just saying like, hey, how do we build a dope community that people enjoy coming through? So our first year events were completely free. A lot of them I dug into my own pockets to pay for. But it was just really about building community, building a space that people enjoyed moving in, and like it was a vibe. And then once we had that vibe, it was like, all right, how do we build upon that? And like building in my mind was, how do we monetize that so we can do bigger and better things and keep it affordable for our community?
What's a special moment you remember, Emily?
On a personal level, I remember one of my first concert experiences that made me, I mean, I was like under 10, but I was at a concert with my dad in Washington, D.C. called Vote for Change. James Taylor was playing. I was actually falling asleep, but that aside, I remember it was at a time when like the country was similar to what's going on now, was kind of like in turmoil. And I remember even as a kid being like, okay, there is something here that is sort of like deflating all of the bullshit going on in the world, and we are all here for one reason, and that's music, and that's a live experience. So I think since I was little, I've always wanted to be in the space, and you know, we all balance like corporate stability with like doing it for a job.
Yeah.
And I have always taken the path of like, how do I remember that moment? And I go to concerts way too much, I go to DJ sets way too much, but how do I take that moment and now think about that when I go to work every day, right? And I work in events all the time, and at Fem House, you know, we throw parties, but we're also, there's like the educational piece, right? And it's like, even what's the live component of that is bringing people together? And I, you know, just, I think it's just really important to remember that everyone in every space you're in is going through something and maybe dealing with something going on, whether it's political, personal, and like, but you're all still for the same live experience, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And is Fem House for the organizer or the attendee? Like, are you recreating that moment that you had for people, or are you teaching people how to recreate it?
That's a good question. I think both. I think like Fem House wants to, at like North Star, be a hub for whether you want to be the person like creating the live experience via DJing, or you just want to be a part of a community and you don't know where you fit in, right? And I think you guys can probably relate to that too. We're all very community focused, and creating, like, whether it's a party or whether it's whatever it is, whether it's, you know, I know we're going to talk about like digital, but maybe it's just like a DM with someone you just met, you know, like that's powerful too. So yeah.
For me, so personally, the first like live experience I remember was going to a Gucci Mane and Rick Ross concert. It was ratchet as hell, but like that was the first time like my parents actually let me like be outside.
Where was it? New York or down
It was in
south?
Nashville. I'm from Nashville, and it's called Bridgestone Arena, and I think it's sold out. This is when Gucci Mane was on fire, like Wasted, all the, you know, y'all know. But yeah, I was able to like finally be outside, people watch, see, like soak up everything, see how people interact with each other. There was fights. I think there was like a stabbing, like it was beautiful though, because I got a chance to like finally be outside and not just watch it on BET, you know what I'm saying, or MTV. But on the flip side, another like something that I organize that sticks out is it has to be the first South House, because, you know, I have a clothing brand called Southern Yankee, and the first South House was actually to bring awareness to the clothing brand. You know, South House is, I'm from the South, I'm bringing my culture of Southern hip hop, like that's Miami, that's Nashville, that's Atlanta, everywhere else, and just bringing that culture up here. So the first party we ever threw, like 50 people came. We lost a shit ton of money, but everyone was enjoying themselves. And I was like, oh shit, we might have something. And it was like, it just gave us the confidence to say, let's just do it again. So yeah.
What is that feeling that you felt like seeing Gucci Mane for the first time in person? Like, I guess, how would you describe that? Was it tapping into like the music side of you, or is it more like the connection you felt with the crowd? Like, what is that?
I think just being a huge fan of Gucci Mane. Like just being like, to me, I mean, Gucci Mane was to me the biggest star. I mean, Gucci Mane is still in my top 5. You know, I know. But yeah, he was the biggest star to me at the time, and just being like 13, being able to see that. I had my older brother with me. Like that was the only way I was able to come out.
Yeah.
But just like that memory, like we still talk about, like, yo, you remember that time we went to go see that concert?
Yeah.
Rick Ross was huge too, but just being able to see like a star that came to Nashville, and it was like, a lot of people in smaller towns can relate. You don't always get these big stars to come and watch you or to come perform in the city. So having Gucci come, having Rick Ross come, it was just amazing to experience. Like, damn, these are real celebrities in our hometown.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with you, Tochi. That's a great segue. There's 2 big buckets of events that we see on the platform. Mm-hmm. The first is like the performance artist or the activity is the focal point. Mm-hmm. And the second is that the community is the focal point. So like you're going to see other people that you know. Yeah. What do you think are the main strategic differences between when you're throwing an event where you book a really big performance act like that and most of the crowd is coming to see them versus an event where people are coming for the organizer's brand?
Wow, what a really good question. Well, now that you asked. No, but I mean, it's a good question because, you really got to start from square one to think like, okay, how am I, well, at least I look at things from a creative lens. So how am I going to communicate what I'm trying to get out to the people creatively? So, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to pay our expenses. We want to pay our people thoroughly. But I think we still need to have a unique POV in communicating like, hey, we want you to come outside and we want you to spend your hard-earned money too. So, when you're doing like these big production events, obviously it's like you start to think a little bit more strategically, like, hey, what can I attach? Who can be involved with this? Like, what communities can I tap into? Versus like, we also, just like my man over here, we have a run club as well. So we meet once a month. We're gonna get into more wellness things as well, but it's more community based. And obviously our paid for events are bigger turnouts in our run clubs. But I think from a community standpoint, the run clubs for us are great because our tagline is move with intention. So how can we be intentional in the wellness space? How can we be intentional in tapping back into our community without just like, yo, give me money, give me your time and your energy, So I think for me, those are the differences. Yeah.
Emily?
Can you ask the question again?
What are the differences between, so We Belong Here actually also has events that are like community based, but then events where you're going to see a big DJ.
Yeah.
What are like the strategic differences when you're marketing that and how you produce the event?
Yeah, I mean, I think We Belong Here has sort of become known for their events being, regardless of artist and lineup, they're known for the fact that like you're gonna go and you're gonna enjoy it. Like that's how I got involved with them. Is I went to one of their events on a whim to see Lane 8 in Miami, and I was like, holy shit, this is very well curated. And like now that I'm behind the scenes, I see the detail that goes into making sure that the lineups are, in touch with what the audience wants, but every single detail down to like every single person I work with and how we talk about engaging with everyone. Like I hope your experience has been good, but like whether it's like the people that we are, putting our ticket like whatever ticket platform we use to everyone that we meet, the staff, the audience, like we just have it ingrained in us that we want to be part of their experience, knowing that these experiences are important to us, right? So, and I think, I have this weird experience because I'm working for a revenue-driven company and also I'm working for an impact-driven company. So like I have this lens that how can we be making sure on both sides that the experience is just going to be so top-notch for everyone who walks in, regardless of, let's say they went in blind to the lineup. And I think that really, really trickles down from the execs and like just the entire team at We Belong Here.
Totally.
Yeah.
Omari, like, what is the balance between, do you think people are coming out for the activity of running, or do you think it's the other attendees that are at the event? And then how do you guys play into that?
Yeah, I guess we're not a run club, right? We do run, we do a lot of these community things, but not a single event have we host today has like a main driver of like a big venue or a big name or something drawing. It's really often like the energy and the ecosystem of people that people are coming for. So I think that's like more what people are drawn to, like the innate energy. They see the content. Like content's a huge aspect for us. They see like, whoa, like the other day we did a pop-up where I'm from New York City. The impetus came from, I saw on TikTok someone DJing out of a taco cart. I'm like, what's a taco cart in New York City? That's a halal cart. So we did a pop-up party where someone was DJing out of a halal cart. And it was like, we didn't really market it, this and the third. It was just like someone had to believe on a whim by the limited marketing we did that was gonna be something dope. And as we've like compounded on experiences and things that become more incremental and advanced, people are like, you know what, we can trust NARC to do a dope event that's super cool and is gonna do something different. And I think that's what more people are coming for rather than like the big name. Like we have yet to hire a huge DJ, a huge person to be like the draw, which I know is like potentially easier in some capacities, but it's really the energy that people feel and the synergies, the support, the level of support that people feel in those capacities as to why they come to our events. And that's been hard to nurture. Like that's been very hard to nurture, but it's something that people are starting to realize, and they come, they're like, oh, NARC's really cool for these reasons. So that's probably why I'm on this panel, right? But it's those capacities and those kind of nuances, those idiosyncrasies and whatnot.
That's super dope.
Yeah.
Sick.
I think also people are leaning into the, like, no offense to like the Taos and Marquis in New York, but
Yeah.
I think people are leaning into these smaller boutique brands that are just like, they're like, we know that, I mean, we're different obviously because We Belong Here has big artists, but like we know for a fact that if we go to one of like our event organizers' parties, we know we're gonna get community, we know we're gonna get a good ass time, and like there's really something beautiful to that as people are sort of like rejecting bottle service, you know?
So it's like the
We do bottle service,
reliability
but
aspect of the
Yeah.
brand, like knowing something will be really good.
I think.
Yeah.
So
Something that's been interesting about these panels is hearing about all the crazy stories that have happened at events and like the accidental things that have gotten people into the live experience space. I think something that the Posh team loves is that experiences embody serendipity in the sense that like random things that happen, that's what we love about events. Like you never know what's gonna happen, you never know the people that you're gonna meet, what music you're gonna listen to, all this stuff. Tochi, for you, who has been the most influential person in your life that you've met through an event?
Wow. What a great question. Besides Barack, the most influential person that I've met at an event? Ooh. It's interesting because there's no one that like just sticks out to say, oh, this is, they work for City Hall or they do this or they do that. They work at this PE company. I think I've met so many important people in our community that like literally make up the community. So it's like, okay, what does the South House community look like? It's transplants, it's people that love the Southern hip hop music and all the subgenres that come with it. So I can't really pinpoint to one particular person, but I think it's introducing myself and making myself like available and noticeable to the different people in the community to say like, yo, like I am you, you're me, like we're literally like the same type of people, like, and those are the most important people that we've met or that I've met. You know?
So empathizing with them?
More so like just making sure like, just having that connection. I think once you get to like a huge, like, once you build a huge brand, like it's kind of just like an institution now. People don't know, there's no face, there's really no soul in it, but always making sure that like, yo, like someone is identifiable in the brand. Like you can speak to someone if you ever wanted to have a chat, like, yo, how did you start this? Like who works here? This, that, and the third.
Yeah.
Like that's important, you know? So.
Emily?
Dang it. I thought you were gonna maybe like skip me. The most influential person, I mean, this is a really roundabout answer, but I got laid off from my job before I worked in music, and that was a boss who was like.
What was your job?
I worked at, I ran communications for FanDuel, a sports betting company.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my boss was very, very rigid, and he was always like, "We're gonna do things by the books. You're never gonna like have success by whatever, he was an asshole. The point is, he was very much like against everything in my ethos, and I always remember my brother would always be like, you never know who you're gonna meet, like, I'm a Fish fan, you never know who you're gonna meet in the Fish community, like, you never know who you're gonna meet on the dance floor. And I was like, you know what, I have nothing to lose. And it was sort of like these like very countering opinions that actually both of my jobs right now, I got my job at FemHouse by sliding into LPGOB's DMs, and I got my job at We Belong Here by blindly reaching out to Justin at the day after the festival.
Damn.
So I think like these people, while not like the most important people, influential people, they're now very influential in my day-to-day life because like I adore them and we work together and all that good stuff. But it's like my mind immediately went to like this guy who told me like what I was doing 15 years into my career was wrong, and then my brother, who is incredible and a big reason for my music and live experiences, who was like, take some risks, that has honestly led me to these people who I have hearts for.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, I think for myself, I'm sitting here trying to think of an answer like, yo, I met Gandhi, and it was like, and it made me look introspective into myself, and I was like, yo, this is a greater calling. But for real, it has honestly been people who have unlocked revenue, if I'm being completely honest, at events. A portion of that is the Posh team. I met the Posh 3 team through our events. They were like, yo, we have this dope platform called Posh, and I was like, you know what? We may have bigger wins here to make this profitable. Like, New York City is freaking expensive. You want to try to do a whole bunch of dope events for people for free? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, they need some subsidies. We need some avenues of revenue, in my opinion, to take these things to the next level. It'd be great if everything was free healthcare, free all that. I'm with that energy. But that's not the reality that I personally live in or the tools that I personally have to make that happen. So it has been people who have been able to unlock revenue, like Posh, like a creator, where it's like, oh, they come to me and they're like, oh, how much do you charge for a brand partnership? Like, I remember one time we're charging for a brand partnership, and someone's like, and I said, oh, we do that for like 2K. They're like, oh, that's so cheap. I'm like, damn. Like, I could have said like 10K, shoot. But it was really those unlocks that it's like, I can now get into a room and have 100 people from my community come in here, enjoy something for free or very low cost, subsidized, and they have a great experience that they come away from. So it has honestly been those, and I went to business school, so like, I'm not even gonna try to sugarcoat this. I'm from New York, went to bigger school. Like, people who unlock revenue for myself have been the most important people that I met at events from a business perspective. But like, let's bring it back to like the Gandhi energy. Like, I do love all the people that attend our events on some like real things and make this possible. Like, it's all not our first year was free. Our full first year program was free. But like, it's been dope. So that's some real, I'm just being honest on that front.
That's dope. That's sick.
Thanks. Shout out Posh again for like their ticketing platform. People are they see our events on the carousel. We get an uptick from that, and that really does help at the end of the day. Like, on all jokes aside.
Mm-hmm. And we got you on the side payment for the.
Yeah, I got
you. No, I think what's sick is like you're basically all saying that you unlock a bunch of networking effects and value from your own community, and even like the second degree people that come from that. So, in the history of the human race.
Oh.
I know, we're going crazy. Don't worry, we're not going to get too crazy. In the history of the human race, when you've gone to a gathering of people, there's been basically nothing to do besides be present. We never had one of these boxes sitting in our pockets that we would pull out and try to document the whole event and just not be like focusing on the people or the place where we were at. And now, for the first time ever in thousands, millions of years, there's people that are growing up where their idea of going to an event is to put it on their Instagram story and to just document the fact that they were there. There's these like other things that you're shooting for when you go somewhere, and they don't understand that like the core value proposition of being with other humans is having this authentic relationship with them and not getting some big performer to like repost your story or whatever it is. How do you guys market events to reach this new generation of kids where they don't understand that like that's what live experiences are about? Or maybe it can be about something else, like who are we to say why you should go to an event? But I guess like how do you think about your marketing now that for the first time there's generations where they're coming out to an event and they're just glued to this box in their pocket?
Me first?
Yeah.
Cool. I honestly haven't seen that. I mean, completely true. I think by nature, potentially we're doing cool events. I haven't seen people glued to their phones. I do appreciate when someone takes out their phone for a moment, decides to tag NARC NYC, because that leads to positive externalities of like great outcomes.
Yeah.
Where someone else finds out about our community, may buy a ticket, may come to a free event, and like our community is growing exponentially. But that said, I think that is often a narrative that's missing, but I just haven't seen it. And like, I honestly, at the end of the day, if they're on their phone doing that, hopefully they're an influencer and get 100,000 eyes. Like I actually am like fully a proponent of them doing that if that's their MO.
Yeah.
But I just personally haven't interacted with people who are like so glued to their phones, so stuck to like, let me record this whole event, and like I honestly have to pay people to do that. Like I have to pay people to capture content at our event. So like I haven't seen that in an overarching capacity, but I am thankful to people who like have done that, because there's times where when we were building ourselves up, we didn't have a budget for someone to come here and film this, that, third.
Yeah.
But by like the collective experiences of everyone who was in the room, I was able to put out a TikTok, like, yo, send me your content. So I haven't been exactly an experience of the dynamic you're explaining, but I'm honestly like, to each your own, do what you gotta do. But I think we make such captivating experiences as to where I haven't experienced that as much.
That's what I was just gonna say. I love that answer, because I think you're saying you've curated a space where people are just naturally off their phones.
Yeah.
And that's what I was interested in too, is not saying that like everyone is on their phones at events, but more so when everyone is on their phones outside of events, how do we get them to like escape online to get to the live experiences? But that's sick that you have a community that's so like rooted in health and wellness that people feel like they can be present in the moment. I guess, how is that at We Belong Here?
Yeah, I think for us, I think like we would be naive to resist any of what like this.
Yeah.
And I think like I sort of believe the algorithm will give you like what you can expect, but like once you get there, the event will give you what you can't predict, So like, it's obviously a tool for us to get people to come, and then like going back to what we were talking about before is when people are on site and they interact with the other people there and the brand and all that good stuff. I think it just kind of like it naturally like the phones go away. You hope, but and I think it's also we're dealing with this interesting thing where it's almost become like artist specific. Like you go to a Kanye music show and it looks like there's a screen, and then you go to some other artist and there's not a phone in sight. And so I truly don't, I have no, I'm an older millennial. I have no idea the answer. Like I don't know. But I do think that like we, at least that We Belong Here, we've definitely leaned into the, we want people to come and we want people to post about it, but I think naturally people are a little bit similar, but like people are sort of just naturally putting their phones down. And I think like, I don't know if you all agree, but I feel like we're entering this era where like people are just getting so sick of the phone that it's almost like, is it just gonna work itself out?
Yeah.
I don't know. Toxic positivity.
Yeah, this topic is like such a big topic, I feel like. It's something that we always talk about internally, because it's like, it's not even like a double-edged sword, it's almost like a triple-edged sword, because, when you look at events, you look at like the waves of people that come in, and depending on if your crowd is like more millennial focused or more Gen Z focused or a little bit of both mixed in between, it kind of just, you don't know where you fall on, because we do live in a TikTokification world where that can like really help your brand, but it can also really hurt you. So I think it kind of, when I think about it, it's a lot of things come to mind. Like it goes back to our Run Club slogan, like move with intention. So now if I'm going around South House, which I do, and I try to like peep, like what are people doing? Are they intentionally partying, like dancing, rapping the lyrics with the group that they're in? Like, or are they, it's funny, like someone will just start dancing and then everyone will make a dance circle and then they'll pull out their phones. So, but in that same breath, that's that same video that will get it 30,000 views and be like, damn, South House is so fun. Now everyone's like, damn, they're having fun, I gotta pull up. But it's like, but I don't know if as curators, we need to be the solution makers for it, or do we communicate it, or like, what exactly do we do? Because we've talked about, hey, like, what if we cover the phones? Maybe it's a smaller event to where we can be a little bit more intentional to like either take the phones or cover the phones. That's something that we want to try as well. But when we program at Elsewhere Space, they send out emails to all ticket holders like, hey, and they have signs like, hey, we just want you guys to put your phones down, be a little bit more intentional while you're partying. So I don't think like one like collective or one promoter or one group is gonna solve the phone problem, because there's too many billions of dollars spent to like keep us addicted to these things. So, but let's move with intention to our base that actually respects us and looks up to us in some facets, to say, yo, like, what if we just for like the first hour, no one pulled out their phones, or what if we could cover your phones, or what if we can take your phones? Let's program that experience too. You know, so I think there's a bunch of ways to look at it, but I think we should all be kind of like having these conversations of like, what does this look like moving forward? Yeah.
And do you mind if I just chime on that? Like, to the point of the phone being the conduit at this moment is like very interesting to me. I work in tech, so I'm always thinking about like, what's the next wave? We have Ray-Bans, Meta, right? Snapchat's doing those things. These are gonna be 24/7 goggles on at a point. So it's no longer about, yeah, we got one pair right here, right? Like, you can't correct for these types of things. It's like, oh, it's glued to your phone. That's the narrative right now. But like, these are just gonna be 24/7 recording devices on people's faces. Like, that is no longer gonna be the narrative. Oh, 10-second reel, this, other. It's gonna be like 24/7 content being captured. So I do think you just have to correct for your community of like, everything you're doing is dope. Everything you're doing is cool. Someone might catch some of the ugly, and just have to like deal with that, like just like humans are, just like your events. They live and breathe. Things are great. Some things are bad. But I almost think that's an old narrative. Like, people are glued to the phone. Like, we're already seeing events coming through monocles of Ray-Ban glass, Meta, Snap, right? Snap invested some X billions in this over the past couple of years. So I just don't even know if that's like, in my opinion, I would characterize it as noise that you can't correct for.
Great segue. We'll start with you and then end with Tochi. Last question before we go to Q&A from the audience. Thinking about what you just said and like how attendees are interacting with events, also where the trend of venues is going, like how we've seen in New York, like we're going from bigger club rooms to more lounges, we're going to run clubs. If you walk into one of your events in 2032, describe like the minute I walk in the door or the field, whatever it is, who am I seeing? What are they doing? How has the live experience landscape changed?
I think it's changed where people are you're seeing a lot of repeated faces, and that's a good thing. I think there maybe is a narrative like, oh, I see the same person at every single party. That's trash. Like, I'm trying.
Not right now. I'm saying in 5-7 years, if you're throwing an event, what will you have done differently from right now?
What would I have done differently from right now?
Like, how will one of your events in 5 years look?
I think there would hopefully be a way and a vision in which, like, I got some of my dope NARC community here in the room.
Yeah.
In which their thought process, or like what could have made that a venue, party, whatnot better, that is ingrained to the event. So like, we have a way of having a feedback loop of understanding that X person at my event enjoys this other person likes that, and somehow their needs and wants are met in that actual event. So I'm somehow getting like pre-event feedback to understand how this could be the most optimal for someone attending. And I do think like, if I can get that input via tech platforms, that'd be great. And then like when they're in there, people are like putting it down or like using it marginally, would be a beautiful capacity thing. So just how do I get feedback nodes outside of like, I think it's a sixth sense at the moment, where like you're seeing what people gravitated to the previous event, you're A/B testing the next. And like, you could A/B test something and it like completely fails, or you can A/B test it and like it skyrockets. I have a better feedback loop onto what will work because people are imparting themselves into those events.
How does one of your events look, Emily?
On the We Belong Here side, I think that what they're doing is so strong right now. I think it should just be everywhere. And there should be more bathrooms, but they know that. But yeah, I think what they have created, if they just keep going on this path with some minor tweaks over the next 5 years and just expansion, not size of the events, but keeping the events exactly what they are, which is what we want to do, and just giving them in every city. So like, if you're in wherever you are, you're in Denver, and you say, oh, like, there's a We Belong Here event this weekend. I know that was really fun when I was there in Brooklyn. Like, you know what to expect. Yeah. So I think continuation with some minor iterations that would probably be not noticeable to people. I think what they've created is really cool, and I hope other people agree. I think for Femme House, I think I want to see more female and underrepresented artists-led events, and I want us to do, like, from a programming and educational programming standpoint, I hope our curriculum will not be as needed. It will be, but we, like, the percentage of women and BIPOC and LGBTQ creators in the music industry is like less than 5%.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we have work to do, and so I think in 5 years, hopefully we can, make our curriculum a little bit less needed, but that's not going to happen. It's a North Star. Yeah.
Coach?
Yeah, I think for me, it's interesting, and it's kind of hard to answer the question because where will we be in 5 years? Like, I think economy is such a big topic and issue right now. I know everyone that's a curator in this room is feeling it. Like, people don't have it to spend like they did in the past 4 or 5 years. I think I'm optimistic that the economy will get better for the average day Joe that can spend that 20 to 50 bucks. With that being said, what does that look like for us? I think we're taking notes of all the mistakes or the missteps or just the naivete of what does like a first 1 through 5 year business look like? Yeah. How do we pivot? How do we make things a little bit more exclusive? How do we have opportunities to make things a little bit more exclusive for a community? I think in curating, casting a wide net sometimes isn't always the best thing. I think curating for an exclusive set of people that want a specific certain thing sometimes builds a cult-like following. So I could see that for us as well. But I think like finding ways to like continue to dive deeper into wellness things, dive deeper into like collections, like capsule collections on a product side, collaborations with companies on a product side, because fashion is such a huge thing right now, and not that many collectives are tapping into the fashion aspect of it. I think that's what the next 5 years looks like on our end.
Dope.
Yeah.
Awesome. Donnie is gonna choose 2 people from the audience for a question. Give us who you want to ask and what your question is.
I want to put very back, but be very loud.
Hi everybody, my name is Nico Diaz, repping the Bronx here. And I've noticed, just like with my own follower count and just talking to friends and artists around the community, it's just like there's a general fatigue at the extreme disgust with a lot of the social media apps, the algorithm, and the love that's facing for a lot of people. And so my question is for you, Eli, and the rest of the panelists, like what plans does Posh have and curators have to consider other ways of engaging, communicating with audiences outside of Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social media apps?
Awesome. Yeah. So to repeat the question, it was how do you engage with your audience outside of social media?
In person?
In person? Do any of you have a creative, like on the ground, like old school way of marketing?
So funny enough, like we threw an event in Detroit.
Yeah.
We did this like block party, day party, block party, and then we do an after party afterwards. And it's so funny going from city to city. Like for everyone, we throw our events in different cities. A month ago, we were in Detroit and talking to the different DJs, they were like, okay, if you want people to go to your after party, you need to pass out flyers. And I've been throwing parties since I've been in high school. Like the first party I threw was like a rave, like all white, like rave, like it, you know, and we passed out flyers in high school. We passed out flyers in college. And I was like, damn, like that's some real street team going back 10 years ago. Like, but it's funny because it worked. Like people pulled up like, yo, I'm here for this. I'm like, damn, that's actually crazy. We're in 2025. They had like, the flyer had more impact than the ad or the digital flyer.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do you connect with the people in real time? Like, I think it's like kind of going back to what I was saying, like having these conversations with the people that support you financially, with their time, with their attention. That's how you connect. That's how you get them to understand your story and why you do the thing that you do. I think people support and appreciate people that do that way more than just like a lit brand. I think that's the way I can personally say we try to, outside of just doing the digital stuff, like all the creative digital stuff, just talking to the average person like, yo, what's up? What's going on? Like, I appreciate you pulling up one, and like just to let you know this is what we do.
Yeah, that's super dope. I think like my analogy for that I think is so crazy is the digital camera is more accessible than ever. Like we all have one on our iPhone. It's easy to get one as a photographer. And yet almost every single party we see, there's a film photographer at the party.
Yeah.
And people are doing Polaroids. And so similar to the flyer thing you're just saying, there's like this want from the people for things that still feel authentic and like you're getting this classic offline experience. And so tapping into that, I guess is what you're saying is super important.
But he mentioned something else I would like to get y'all's opinion on it too. Eli, yours as well. He mentioned ticket fatigue. I think I've talked to a lot of bar owners, I've talked to a lot of club owners, I've talked to a lot of different collectives. Ticket fatigue is a real thing right now. So I'm also interested to see what everyone else thinks about that too. It's so funny, I think psychologically everything's connected. I think economic woes are connected, political woes are connected. And like if you're here in New York City, everyone has at this point 3 or 4 friends that are laid off from big boy jobs. And it's hard right now. And people aren't as optimistic to say like, oh, like I'm gonna have this money to spend in the next 5, 6, 8 months. I maybe need to save for a rainy day. So ticket fatigue isn't always like, I'm just tired of paying for tickets. People have been paying $20 when I was in college.
Yeah.
Tickets are still $20.
Yeah.
But the price of everything has gone up. So I don't know if it's really ticket fatigue. I think it's where we are as a country and as the world, and social media has made everything so much smaller too. But I do wonder, it's like, how do we find a way to get past the conversation of ticket fatigue?
I think for ourselves, it's been creating ways for people in our community to interact beyond the ticket, beyond Instagram, so on and so forth. So what that looks like for us currently is our NARC chat on WhatsApp. I don't know, we're starting potentially in society to characterize WhatsApp as a social platform in a lot of ways, and that's why they've like built communities, but it is the drumbeats of people just throwing in a jarring comment, putting in a random meme, having spaces for people, a part of our community are great and very important to interact outside of something that's like curated from our Instagram page, is how we deal with that ticket fatigue. And then people in our community start showing up for themselves, which is like a beautiful thing. Like I was quite literally at an event the other day it was like a UK event someone in our community was hosting, and probably 50% of individuals there were from our community, but this was not an event that we facilitated, hosted, or any of the above. It was just an externality of the community of people that met there, and that was like a very beautiful thing to see.
That's dope.
And there's times people are hosting birthday parties, and I might be hurt. I wasn't invited, but they all met through NARC and are like having a dope birthday party. So like it starts becoming these offline channels, avenues for these people to foster and connect in a beautiful way. That I'm so happy that they found people in the community through that. So how we combat ticket fatigue is I think people just start showing up for one another, helping one another do these things that are like truthfully human, and it's not an interaction, it's not payment, and I'm glad that those things happen naturally.
Like
I also think, go you.
No, go.
I was gonna say, just to kind of expand on that, I think like when these communities are just happening naturally within your events, it's a very beautiful thing. And I think, we've kind of leaned into, like the marketing term is word of mouth, but we like refer a friend, and it's, I think, let's say you don't want to just like get push notifications from an app or a brand or whatever. Like, I think we all know that our best friends, we love our best friends' best friends. And so I think a big thing that We Belong Here has done really well is leaned into the community that we've created, leaning into referrals, right?
Yeah.
And so if you buy a ticket, like, what does it look like for you to bring 5 friends, and what's the discount there? And if you're bringing your friends in the door, that community is just sort of having its own ripple effect. That's not necessarily like hitting people in the face with like buy a ticket. It's like, and I am a believer that probably once people like walk into any of our events, it's like that's it, right? Like I work with press, and I'm just like, just come and the story will speak for itself.
Yeah.
Like I can sit here and message and bullshit down your throat, but And I think there's beauty to having friends bring their friends who are ticket buyers and just let them see it for themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
so like to combat ticket fatigue, giving all these value adds external to just the event that are like other communal aspects that people really want. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, one more question, then we'll get back to the wine.
I think it partially connects to the question that you guys were just talking about, but where do you feel your responsibility lies in providing for your community and making sure that you're bringing in as many people as you can, I guess? I feel like every time I host a ticketed event, I feel like it's almost an obligation that I host a free event too, especially knowing that I started in, like as you were saying, in a base of free events, right? When everything I did at the beginning was all free, and then it's this transition into like, well, I want to keep it going, so I'm going to ask for money now. Or even on the other side, it's not always just about money. I'm only 21 right now. A lot of the people that have supported me in the events that I hosted in middle school and high school, they were coming in, and there was never alcohol at the events. It was never ideas at the event. And now it's like, hey, I know you've always supported me. I know you're asking me to come, but I signed this contract, and this venue is 21 plus. Like, I can't get you in. I can't risk my like professional stance on that. And so, how do you guys deal with that, I guess, emotional aspect, and how do you make your business decisions through including your community, but also drawing boundaries?
I think to me, at the end of the day, I have a balance sheet for certain things. So like you just have to be profitable, or it has to break even, or I'm going deep into my pocket on something. So like just keeping it honest on those forefronts. But that said, at least for us, we're fortunate that we do have accessible points that can always be accessed. We have a run Saturday, 10 a.m. McCarran Park, plugging myself at the moment while saying this and answering your question. But like you can pull up, and that can be something you do every single week. We do understand that it's a luxury, and we're thankful for people who contribute their hard-earned dollars to these other events. But like in the inverse, I think people need to understand the sweat equity, the time, the clairvoyance, the planning that took place to make these other events happen. And I'm just very indebted and thankful when they choose to dip into their pockets and help make those other things possible. I think how we've switched our model in the past year is like, how do we get bigger brands to offset expenses and costs of these things? So like, how do we become a plug and play model where like, I would love every single one of our events to be free, and Fortune 1000 companies are paying for all those events through brand activations. Like, I think that's the vision we're going through, and I would love that to be the case. Free vacations, free runs, free swag, free everything for everybody is like what I actually want to happen, and I'm making my money off of someone who's well more endowed in that capacity. So like, that's how I do it. But I think there is just a real honest conversation and back and forth that like, yo, this is the brainchild and curation of things we're thinking through. There are expenses here. I'm gonna try to offset those in as many capacities as I can through partnerships, people, venue discounts, negotiate. I'm from New York, like, hey, yo, instead of it being 1,000, let's do it for 500 to offset the cost. But I think there also has to be a respect as well to understand that this took time, money. I personally don't do this full time. Like, I'm doing this in aside to a real job. So it's just understanding like, hey, thank you for willing to come spend your money here as well. So I think there's a respect element. I think there's a future element where like hopefully big brands are paying for it, is how I think through it.
Well said.
I think there's a dialogue element too of having the dialogue with the people who are coming to your events and gauging comfort level, right? Like, I think there is a lot of beauty in if you're creating something for people to continue to come, you want to know what they're comfy with, right? Like, maybe it's a pay what you can model. And I think there's also, this is potentially horrible advice, but like trying something and seeing what sticks, you know? I think like, especially when you're first starting out, who knows, right? What is a blueprint for one person or one organizer is not necessarily gonna be, there'll be tips and tricks, but not necessarily the same for everyone else. So I think, you know, getting the feedback of like, what would you be comfortable paying? What would you be comfortable paying? And also, like, this is maybe silly, but like, check in with your inner value system, right? Like, I think the bigger businesses get, the more we get veered off of our core values. And when something doesn't feel right, if your goal is to create whatever it is, community or a beautiful experience or et cetera, check in with yourself. And if it starts to feel like, I don't want to charge $50 for this, then step back, like you're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you asked like 2 questions. So the first part of the question, like kind of like the give back portion of it, it's like for us that is what the wellness aspect of it looks like. We're not from New York, but we ask a lot from New York. We take a lot from New York, just being frank. So it's like, what are ways that we can add value to the community? That's why I think our slogan, Move with Intention, is so impactful, because it's like, what better than to like make your community healthy? Whether it's like running, whether it's like HIIT classes, whether it's like yoga or meditating. I think that's our value add into like, I mean, we could do like a free party and that's cool and all, but it's like, how can we actually add value to people that are going through tough times, that still need community, and then kind of need some encouragement to like get there, to walk in the path that they want to walk in. But then to answer your other question, it's like, and I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly. To me, it sounded like, there's a lot of people that sometimes might even want to mooch off you, or just like, yo, it's so funny. There's a tweet that's like, yo, just because an event is free doesn't mean that it's actually free. There's sweat, there's time. I got to pay people. There's gas, there's Ubers. Our free events are thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
People don't understand that though. So it's also like, I think like every curator needs to find a way to like stand 10 toes and also communicate to the people that quote unquote support you, to say like, yo, just because you're on my guest list doesn't mean that you get all the perks that come with being like in a free event. Like, you should, one, be on time. You should find a way to also support me. Yo, throw it on your story, bring a friend, buy a drink, all these things. People get on guest lists and they ask for a free drink too. It's like, I'm running a business. So I think it's like, there does need to be a little bit more education to like, they call it guest list etiquette, but like there does need to be a little bit of education with the people that say that they support you. And then that's the beautiful time, because then you get to see if they actually really support you. I think like, honestly, like you have to like stand 10 toes on like, hey, this is something that I'm building. This is something that I believe in. I need you to support me. And sometimes support always isn't just free. It's like, hey, can you do something for me? So that's how I'd answer that one.
Awesome.
So true.
Round of applause for our wonderful panelists. Also, round of applause for our incredible community team that put this event together. Donnie killed it. Who here organizes events, by a show of hands? All right, so basically everyone here, let's go. One ask as everyone is heading out or later in your night, think back to the earlier questions that we asked the panelists about what is the first moment that you remember from an event, and who is someone that's been super impactful for you, and what is a way that we can create that moment for someone else and let them meet their special person, or just have that moment to escape like their everyday life and their online life. I think that's so exciting for us as organizers. There's a ton of people from the Posh team that are here. If you guys have any questions about events later this week, if you have any ways that we can help you, whether it's with the product or meeting someone that's here this week, please ask us. Like, we love hanging out with everyone that's here, and we're ready to have a really good week with a lot of value created and a lot of drinks drank. So let's have a good time. And yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.